Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm bringing you a very special set. This is Game 1 of Caleb Ryor against Ray Rizzo at Massachusetts Regionals Top 8. Now, you see Caleb's team on screen: Venusaur, Lucario, Rotom Heat, Azumarill, Salamence, and Garchomp. Keep that in mind as we go into team preview and we see Ray's team. This was live recorded, but now I'm speeding it a bit up, adding some music to it, and doing post-game commentary, but I'm gonna, commentate the battle as it goes. Ray's team today is Rotom Heat, Salamence, Aegislash, Amoonguss, Kangaskhan, and Wigglytuff. That's right, Ray Rizzo used Wigglytuff to win regionals, and you will see it used in this very game, so get excited, guys. But talking about the team matchups, it makes a lot of sense that Ray actually wants to bring Wigglytuff because it's got Fire Blast to beat Lucario. Caleb's got a Salamence to actually activate Wigglytuff's ability, which is really good competitive, which gives you a +2 in special attack, and Wigglytuff can beat Garchomp and it can beat Salamence. So for Caleb, he actually really needs to make sure he can beat this Wigglytuff, because otherwise it will stay around, and with the Amoonguss support and Assault Vest, it can be very annoying. Caleb definitely wants to bring his Rotom Heat too to beat Ray's Amoonguss and Aegislash, and he's probably going to want Lucario. He's running, I believe, both Mega Lucario and Mega Venusaur. Lucario probably the better one in this set to hit that Wigglytuff and that Kangaskhan, and we're going to get the battle started right away. But yeah, if you're Caleb, you want to make sure you beat that Wigglytuff and have a check to that Amoonguss. But let's see how both players decide to lead. Ray's going to go with Wigglytuff and Amoonguss, and I think that's one of his best leads, as Caleb goes with Azumarill and Lucario. Now, Caleb's in some trouble because while Azumarill's a good Pokemon, it can't do too much here, especially because Amoonguss redirects attacks away and can just Spore and Giga Drain the Azumarill. So Azumarill probably going to want to switch out here, but that gives Ray a free turn to either just Spore Caleb's Pokemon, or even just redirect an attack away and go for an attack with Wigglytuff, for example, Fire Blast onto that Lucario, since Ray's Wigglytuff is carrying Fire Blast. Caleb gonna actually withdraw this Azumarill, which makes a lot of sense. Bringing Rotom Heat, making Caleb's matchup a lot better now, as Lucario does go for the Mega Evolution, of course. Amoonguss is going to Rage Powder, though, so if Caleb decides to attack, he's probably going to lose the Lucario, but Caleb's not going to do that. He's going to reveal the Substitute. Ray also showing the Fire Blast, so both players gaining some valuable insight right from the start. Caleb probably gets on the better end of this turn, as he not only gets Rotom Heat in for free, he also manages to conserve his Lucario from fainting. So now he's in a much better position than he was on the previous turn, as Rotom Heat does threaten the Overheat. However, since Mega Lucario is faster than Rotom Heat, if Amoonguss does choose to, say, Rage Powder, it'll probably get KO'd by Lucario and Rotom Heat, but then Wigglytuff will be able to KO the Lucario with the Fire Blast. So Caleb, not wanting to lose his Lucario, is actually going to go for a Protect. Amoonguss is also going to go for a Protect, as Rotom just goes for the Overheat, predicting Protect from Amoonguss onto Ray's Wigglytuff. Does a hefty amount even with that Assault Vest, but here's the thing. Now, since he didn't go for a double target that last turn, even though he predicted Amoonguss to Protect, he's in some trouble now, because Rotom is at -2, and at this point, it can't KO the Amoonguss. So Amoonguss can actually survive this turn, or it could actually just switch out. Wigglytuff is still in a reasonable range, and I don't think another Overheat can KO it, but an attack from Lucario can. But Ray's definitely in a better position than he was in the previous turn, since his the Rotom Heat on Caleb's side is now at -2. But he's going to withdraw his Amoonguss actually to Salamence, getting the Intimidate, obviously not going to matter very much. Lucario continuing to go for Substitute, though, trying to pick up a free turn with Substitute. Rotom Heat this time going to use Overheat onto the Amoonguss instead of the Wigglytuff, doing nothing to that Salamence, as Wigglytuff continues to launch Fire Blasts, hitting on both of them. So Ray's been relatively fortunate in terms of connecting with both, because if Lucario did get a sub up, that would be huge for Caleb, but Caleb unfortunately not able to get a Substitute up. He is able to blow a turn away, but now Ray's in the driver's seat. Salamence is out, Choice Scarf Salamence, Rotom Heat is at -4. Not being able to capitalize off last turn with that Overheat was huge. So Caleb surprisingly actually switching out the Lucario, but that's a good play because both Salamence and Wigglytuff have access to Fire Blast, but that's going to activate Wigglytuff's competitive, so now Wigglytuff's at +2. You see the avoid there, not going to matter too much, as Rotom Heat goes for the Will-O-Wisp onto Wigglytuff, trying to knock it out from that burn damage, and Wigglytuff predicted the Rotom Heat to switch out into Azumarill, which makes a lot of sense, but Rotom Heat actually not switching out. Rotom Heat actually does a pretty good job walling this Wigglytuff, but unfortunately Caleb hasn't been able to use that to his full advantage, and sure, it's staying in because it does a nice job countering that Wigglytuff, but otherwise it's kind of dead weight now that it's at -4. Ray's going to withdraw that Salamence, doesn't want to take a Dragon-type attack onto it. Caleb anticipates this and goes for the Fire Blast onto that Wigglytuff, but that's unfortunately going to miss. And this Wigglytuff is going to get a Dazzling Gleam, not before Rotom Heat gets a Will-O-Wisp onto Amoonguss, but that Dazzling Gleam is going to KO that Salamence right away and do a hefty amount to that Rotom Heat. Of course, Dazzling Gleam at +2 because of that competitive ability. That Fire Blast miss really stunk. Not sure if that was actually able to pick up the KO because Wigglytuff is relatively bulky and does have Assault Vest, but you have to anticipate after burn that was definitely going to go down. probably actually could have just KO'd normally, but either way, it misses. So Ray hitting his fire blasts, and Caleb missing the one he really needed to hit. So that was really unfortunate. Caleb now has to salvage what he has, but his Rotom is still at -4. Lucario is going to be the one switching out, though. His Rotom Heat just refuses to switch out. Going for the overheat once again, this time onto the Wigglytuff. At -4, with that Assault Vest, still able to pick up the KO, but Wigglytuff has done its job. It's picked up the KO, mainly on Salamence, which it needed, and walled Caleb's team, and did a very good job just pretty much annoying Caleb with it, because he had to focus his attentions onto it. And now the Azumarill is actually going to get spored, which is huge for Ray, because whenever you spore Pokemon and it hasn't, counted its sleep yet, that means it has to stay in at least for one more turn. So that Azumarill is dead weight for this next turn, and Ray's going to bring in Mega Kangaskhan. He hasn't even used his Mega Evolution yet. That's going to be huge. Rotom not going to protect here. Going to switch out into the Lucario, but Kangaskhan's going to Mega Evolve here, and you'd have to anticipate the Kangaskhan going for the return onto Rotom Heat, which is now Lucario. Let's see if Ray actually did that. He is indeed going to return, and he is going to target that Lucario, going to KO it. That critical hit on the second hit really didn't matter, would have KO'd anyway, as Lucario falls down. Azumarill takes a turn of sleep there. That's the first turn. Now Azumarill has a chance of waking up the following 2 turns, or 3 turns really, guaranteed to wake up on the 3rd turn, but now you're counting some sleep turns, and that's never any real fun to deal with. Rotom Heat is going to come back in, but now he's down 4... Caleb's down 2-3, and Ray's got a full HP Mega Kangaskhan to deal with. Rotom going to protect here, hoping that Azumarill wakes up. Amoonguss is going to Rage Powder, and Kangaskhan going for the return into the Protect, surprisingly, but Azumarill's just going to take another turn of sleep. Even if it was able to wake up, it would have only been able to touch that Amoonguss and not that Kangaskhan. And so at this point, Caleb says, alright, there's no point, so he just forfeits the game, and that's going to be a win for Ray Rizzo, as he takes a 1-0 lead in this top 8 set at Massachusetts Regionals. That's it for today's battle, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.